One of my favorite shoots of yours is the Motley Crue with the red paint. It looks like blood.
Yeah. Well, the stuff on all them is imitation theatrical blood, but it's the highest grade theatrical blood you can get. Okay, because if you ever back then saw these photo shoots that Blackie Lawless did, he had blood in a lot of them, but it looked like red water. Okay, it just didn't look. That blood I bought cost a lot of money, and it looked fucking. If you ever saw those slides in reality, I don't know if you have my Motley Crue book, but that's really good printing in that book, and that blood on them looks fucking great. But the stuff on the background was red lacquer paint. So I bought some red lacquer when you could buy lacquer paint in California, and we put it in little cups, and we were just throwing it to backdrop because Nikki wanted me to get some pig's blood. And get that. I'm like, where am I going to get fucking pig's blood? You know, I don't want fucking smelly ass pig's blood.
Yeah, and whose idea was that? Was that yours, or was that the band's, or a combination to do that theme, if you will?
Well, Nikki wanted to do something with blood. Okay, and like I said, Nikki's like, yeah, I want to do something with blood. But I had even a better idea than that after that shit, because that's one of my favorite shoots I ever did in my life. And back then, Six was one of my closest friends in the world. So was Robin Crosby from Rat. So me, Nikki, and Robin were sort of inseparable back in those days. We actually went to Club Med in Martinique in 1984. That's when Vince got in that accident and killed Razzle from Hanoi. In that accident. You know, we were down there causing, you know, human destruction and everything you can imagine, me, Nikki, and Robin. And then we come back. But what do you got? So, you know, Nikki was one of my closest friends in the world. So we did that shoot, and that was just over the top. So then I had an idea that we had to top that. So in 1985, the Olympics were going to be in Los Angeles. So everybody was all Olympics, all Olympics, all. Dude, if you gave me a front row seat to the Olympics, I wouldn't go. That means absolutely zero to me, the Olympics. It's going on right now, I think, in France. I don't pay attention to that shit. So what do you got? So my idea was, okay, Nikki, let's go get some Olympic shirts and everything, and let's fucking rip them up and let's buy an Olympic flag and set it on fire and everything like that, because we had to top the blood session. But Nikki said, hey, Zloz, I think that's too over the top. We better not do that. I thought it was a great idea myself. I mean, I'm sort of, even in my old age, I'm still sort of a sick puppy, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's a little bit punk rock to, you know, middle finger to the establishment. The Olympic flag is, to burn that is, some would say, un-American.
Well, I would never think of burning the American flag. Okay, that I would. Well,
yeah, I said the Olympic flag.
Yeah, I know that doesn't mean shit to me.
I get it. I get it.
I love the fact that the photographer is being censored by Nikki Sixx.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't censored, but you know, I have a documentary out. I don't know. I was telling Jason in my documentary. I'm talking to my old partner who I used to shoot photos with when we were 16, 17 years old. And I go, hey, Oliver, remember when your dad, when we were younger, he thought we were two fags? Dude, in my own documentary, they bleeped out the word fags. I mean, you can go watch All in the Family any day of the week, which is one of my favorite TV shows, along with Sanford and Son. And in All in the Family, Archie's talking about fags and fruitcakes and spicks and coons and wops and everything. You can't say that anymore. But All in the Family's on every day in my own documentary. But you were talking about, yeah, you got to make it so every platform all around the world can play. You don't want to play in India or some Muslim company and you say the word fag, and then they're going to come over here and drag me there and put me to death, you know, because I used the word fag or something like that.
But it's important to me for the art and the artist to be recognized. And if it costs you an edit here or there, just because, you know, you're free thinking and open-minded and open-mouthed like you are, you're free speaking, I would
Yeah.
rather have people learn about your this. Don't feel weird because it's me telling you your your greatness. You know, your accomplishments. Your the scrape upon the earth that you've left when you're no longer here to speak your fucking mind like you do, like you do so well. So,
Yeah, I do that good, huh?
yeah, you do. You're a bad motherfucker at that.
He's gonna
I
be
like
here
to think
forever.
so.
He's gonna be here forever.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Who have you
you are.
worked? Who have you worked with that surprised you? Maybe someone you weren't really familiar with, and certainly not personal friends with, but somebody that you know you ended up getting a job doing a shoot, and you kind of liked their music. You were willing to do the shoot, but you didn't really know anything about them, and then you were really pleasantly surprised at how cool they were, how much you know you learned to respect them, or any surprises in your line of work? I mean, obviously,
Not that I could think of. I'd have to think really
Tell
hard.
us the story about Tom Waits.
Oh, well, so magazine I was working for, they hired me to do Tom Waits. Know nothing about him. Don't know what he looks like. Nothing about that. So I have to go down to Sunset, like 10 blocks from where I'm sitting here, and go shoot him. So I go to his management office and knock on the door. Go in there. Hi, my name's Neil. I'm here. I'm supposed to shoot with Tom Waits for this magazine. Oh, yeah, well, Neil, Tom's not here yet. So why don't you have a seat, you know, and we'll let you know when he comes. So I have a seat over there in the corner. And, oh, you like some tea, coffee, water? No, I'm cool. And then all of a sudden I see this guy walk in the front door, and it looks like some fucking homeless person. And I'm like, what's that homeless guy doing here? I go, so I'm sort of watching to see if they're going to call the cops and get him thrown out or whatever. And I see someone go up to him, and then about 3-4 minutes later, the girl comes to me. Oh, Tom just got here. Give me a couple minutes and I'll introduce you. And I'm like, Tom just got here. I didn't see anybody but this homeless guy walk in here. So I'm sitting there. And back then they didn't have homeless people like they do now. They're all over, you know, right outside here. They didn't have them back then. So all of a sudden she goes like this. So she goes, oh, Neil, let me introduce you to Tom. So all of a sudden I get up and she takes me over to the homeless guy. And I'm like, hey, Neil, this is Tom Waits. Tom, this is Neil. I was going to do the photo shoot. Like, hey, Neil, you know, and I'm like, ooh, I go, this is Tom Waits. And I'm like, this is a guy I got to do a photo shoot with. I'm like, oh, hey, Tom, how's it going? I go, listen, man, I'm doing this a long time. I'm pretty easy, painless. It'll be fun. I go, so I'm ready to shoot. I go, you know, you want 10 or 15 minutes to go get ready and shave and everything? He's like, oh, no, Neil, I'm ready to go work right now. Let's go start this thing. I'm like, he's going to look like this? So, I mean, I knew nothing about his music or anything. So we went out into some alley in the back, and I shot him there. He had his little beret cap, and he's smoking his cigarette. He's sort of like looking like this, you know. And what do you got? So I shot some shots, and then he had this like 1955 Cadillac in the back. That the back seat was all just full of everything. He must have been living in the car at that point, because everything was in this car. Like you couldn't even see the back seat or the front seat. And I shot some photos of him in front of the car, and you know, probably did some close-ups, really like looking, you know, whiskers. Like I should talk, you know. I don't shave too often, but so we go. So he was great. He's fun to work with. I liked the guy a lot. You know, I didn't know what his music was like. Then I heard him. I mean, it ain't my cup of tea. The thing I liked best about Tom when I saw him live, he would just get up at the microphone. But by the time he was done with his set, there was a whole pile of trash around the microphone. There were like cigarette butts and maybe empty wine bottles or booze bottles on the ground, and just garbage there. So I worked with Tom quite a few times after that.
Okay.
And he used to have like there was a place called the Tropicana Motel where a lot of bands used to stay when they came into town. Like Patti Smith stood there, and this band, The Alarm, and they had like 4 units that people lived in, and Tom lived there, and I had to go shoot him there once. And he opened the door. He had like a little path in his place that was this big. That went from room to room, because there was just junk and garbage everywhere along. So you could not wander off that path. So I love working with Tom Waits. I haven't worked with him probably since 81, 82, you know, but He was fun to work with, and there's quite a few people like Steve Vai. One day, I'm like, hey Vi, you want pictures of anybody? You want any pictures of Eric Clapton or Eddie Van Halen? Anybody? He goes, Neil, I'd love to get a Tom Waits photo from you. So I've had other artists who really love Tom Waits,
Yeah.
And, it's not my cup of tea because I told you I'm a rock and roller, but he's a pretty respected guy, Tom
Yeah.
Waits.
Oh, yeah.